Well, good afternoon, everyone. Today I'm going to show you a quick overview of how to fix your wiper problems on your 2010 and up GMC Terrain or Chevy Equinox. First thing you're going to have to do is open your hood, and you're going to want to look for the two wiper spindle caps. You got one right there. Don't lose them, just set them somewhere safe. Pull those off, and you're going to find some nuts. What you're going to want to do is make sure your wipers are in the down and park position, and then get a socket on there, and I will tell you what size it is in just a second. I think it's a 16 or a 17 millimeter. And go ahead and take those nuts off carefully. All right, those nuts were actually 15 millimeter. So as you can see right now, I have them removed. And what I'm going to do now, actually, is pull them back up. If yours is still working, what you do, get in the car and turn on the wipers and stop them before they go back down. Then close the hood, and then just lift them up and start to give them a good wiggle. And what will happen is you're unseating a little conical shaped spline in there, and it'll let you pull this right off. So go ahead and do that for both sides. And try not to slip and smash your windshield. I'm gonna use both hands here, but take both of those off. The next step for us is gonna be taking off this cowl plastic. What you're gonna wanna do here is just pull outwards slightly on this rubber, and there's a little plastic hook there that this slips onto. Pull that off, and then we're gonna be looking at these clips once we get this off of both sides. The tool I like to use for these clips looks like this. You can get it at any Harbor Freight or online for like $1. Very, very inexpensive. What you wanna do, these clips actually have two distinct pieces to them. Although it is difficult to get underneath the middle portion, what you want to do is split it with the tool and lift up on the center portion. I'll get it under there and show you what I got. So there we have it, a little persistence in 15 seconds. Got the center portion lifted, and once that's happened, you're actually allowing these two pieces to kind of smush in so you can remove it through the smaller hole. You're going to be doing that with, I think, 4. I think you have to take them out of the side pieces as well, but for sure the middle 2. Next step is removing these little side pieces. They're made out of rubber, and they snap in 2 spots here, and they tuck in really nicely under here. So this is just one of those scenarios where you pull it off. It's going to feel like you're going to break it, and I guess you might if your car is a little older and it's had a little more sun exposure, but you should be okay just pulling them straight off. And that will give you a little more room to lift out the center cowl plastic. Once you have both the rubber pieces out of the way, simply come back under here, lift up, and looks like there is a piece of something I have to disconnect over here. Yes, there's a little washer fluid line, which should be able to be disconnected. Let's see here. I'll figure this out and I'll tell you how it works. Sorry about the focus, guys. There we go. I'll figure this thing out and tell you how it works. I actually opted to just not break it and move it out of the way. So right here is our wiper transmission. You've got your electrical plug right over here, which we'll be removing. And you have a 10 millimeter there. And there is also one right over here. And one by the motor itself. I do believe the motor bolts to the wiper transmission. I bought these assemblies used. Sure enough, it was bolted here. Probably, I'm guessing, just like that. Interesting, they didn't give me the radius arm. Hopefully that's not a problem. Hopefully that wasn't the failure point. I will be really, really ticked if it is. These are off. That's an 11 Terrain, 12 Equinox. So we'll see. But I'm going to go ahead and remove the old transmission and motor, like those 3 10 millimeters and that one electrical plug. And the electrical plug itself, it looks like, let's see here. I'm guessing we'll just be pinching on the bottom and pulling. Well, let me remove it and we'll take a look at it. There's the plug. You just pull down pull out. So here we have it. And the failure on mine was this plastic socket breaking and coming off of this ball joint here. So what I'm actually gonna do is just take the good arm off of that unit and place it onto this unit. By doing that, simple as that, it should make for a nice quick repair. And I'm actually gonna go ahead and grease these sockets while they're apart, just because this one's looking pretty dry. And that probably had at least something to do with the failure itself. This is not a very well engineered part, I have to say. And that'll give me the opportunity to return most of that as well, if I want to. So there we have our original linkage and the new linkage and transmission. And here we have the arm, which I've pumped full of nice copper anti-seize lubricant. I would use molybdenum grease on this probably if you have it, but I don't have it here, so that's what I'm going with. I'm just gonna pop the socket on the motor and the socket on the linkage, and we'll pop it back in, kind of reverse of removal. Snapped on nicely, feels nice, good tight connection. Yep, we're good to go. So I'm gonna drop this right back on into the Terrain. I will say, the part itself is not well engineered, but the orifice where it sits is incredibly well engineered. I've done wiper transmissions on vehicles where you've gotta, disconnect the motor, unbolt the motor from everything. You've gotta rotate it a certain amount and take out like blower motors. So props to GM for at least putting it in a spot where it's easy to maintain and access. But yeah, I'm just gonna toss it back together the same way we just watched it get taken apart. Really nothing too fancy about it. Hopefully that helped you. That's really not a difficult job even with basic hand tools. So hopefully, again, hopefully it helped and saved you some money, or at least helped you diagnose what's wrong with it in the first place so you can make a better educated decision on what parts you do and don't need. Thanks as always for watching, and take care. Actually, one more quick tip. When you are putting the wiper blades or the arms back on when you're done, do kind of the same positioning when you took them off. So start them like that, then put the blade down on the glass, and then keeping pressure right on the fulcrum, move it down to where they should be on the windshield. And then you've got enough room, hopefully, to at least hand thread your nuts. And then you can actually get them straight on here. The torque value for these, I don't actually know offhand. If you're a seasoned technician that does a lot of wrenching work, good and tight will be just fine. However, you want to make sure it's not too loose, because if it is, they could strip out the little splines on the ends of the shaft. So I would say something like 10 or 15 foot-pounds should be just fine on a bolt this size. 15, 20 is probably even okay. Yeah, just tighten those down, put the caps back on, and voila, just like that, wiper's done.